Alright, what do we got here? Ana Kasparian on Tucker Carlson's show. And they cover a bunch of fucking goddamn topics. Oh boy. I don't even know. Do I even want to go through all this? A lot of wacky stuff here. I've been hearing things about this where it's just like, well, Ana is just like going along with like Tucker Carlson and blah 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 blah, calling him like a populist, an actual good figure, which obviously is not the case. He's a complete charlatan and hack. So that's cool. That's great. That I guess like I don't know. I guess Ana Kasparian's starting to get into like the stupid like Jimmy Dore-esque like pipeline or some shit. But what we got here? We're just gonna go through the whole fucking thing. Fuck it. I'm 2 times it. I don't give a shit.
So normally when I do an unconventional interview with like Putin or the president of Iran, people get mad and they ask, why are you talking to him? This is one of those very rare, maybe unique circumstances where people are going to ask you,
Yes.
why are you talking to him?
Yeah.
And people are going to get mad.
People are going to get very angry, I know. And your producers have been reaching out.
I wonder why people are going to get mad at Ana Kasparian in particular. I wonder, huh? I wonder why they're going to get pissed with her. Could be anything reason.
Out trying to get me to talk to you for at least a year and a half. And my feelings toward coming on your show went from I would never in a million years to kind of giving myself the opportunity to listen to your podcast to figure out who you really are. Because, of course, I had very strong thoughts about who you are.
Really?
Yeah, but I realized that it was based on clips that I would watch of you that had gone viral. And they had gone viral because they were offensive or you had said something that was...
Viral like syphilis is viral.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, you should think of it that way because it was mostly painting you in a very negative light.
Are you, like... Oh, boy. That's how we're fucking starting this? That's how we're starting this. Yeah, dude, the dude who went on Tucker Carlson tonight and just lauded a bunch of like far right like nationalistic fucking propaganda. Okay, bro. Wonder why people don't like Tucker Carlson. Bro, what the fuck is this like folksy LARP shit here? Fucking Christ, bro.
And to be sure, you and I have some pretty deep disagreements, but I think that some of what you've been talking about lately like hits at the heart of what I care most about, and that's the importance of this country representing the American people, the importance of the United States being a sovereign country that has politicians and a government that prioritizes the American people as opposed to a foreign government, and speaking out the way you've been speaking out.
Oh boy, this one's gonna be fucking dank, dude. Jesus.
About some of these issues takes a lot of courage because it goes against the grain and it goes against, I mean, decades of propaganda and conditioning in American media. And so to me, that commonality that you and I share made me a lot more open-minded to coming on the show because I do think that Americans from across the political spectrum need to find areas of agreement, especially as it pertains to making this country better, so we can apply appropriate pressure on our politicians and get them to represent us, regardless of the corruption, regardless of the influence of foreign governments. At the end of the day, these politicians are nothing if it isn't, if it weren't for the American people, right? So like right now, what's really interesting is in Congress, it appears that there's this bipartisan effort to force a vote to release the Epstein files.
Yes.
And the only reason why that's happening is because there's a very loud and aggressive portion of the MAGA base that's demanding it, and they're not letting it go. And I commend them because
I don't think it's only conservatives that are being loud and aggressive about this. I think everyone has been, broadly speaking, very loud and aggressive about this. What, does she think, like, liberals or, like, people on the left have not been advocating for the release of the Epstein files? You can look at my fucking goddamn video catalog alone. Brother, do you guys have any idea how many fucking Epstein goddamn... I don't know any fucking Epstein videos I've made at this point. It's at least, like, almost a dozen or some shit. I don't think that's the main problem here, Anna. You know, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't think that's the main thing.
Because I agree with them. I think we need transparency. We need to know whether or not we literally have members in our government or influential people, you know, in the periphery of our government who are pedophiles. I want to know.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the framework that you laid out. The government of any country ought to be sovereign, which is to say it should make most of its big decisions on the basis of what's good for the people that it represents. And it's bad when foreign countries control your country. Those don't strike me as hateful statements at all. Those aren't expressions of animus against anybody, are they?
I don't think they're hateful statements at all. I'm an American. I love this country. I love the people in this country. And I don't want...
So that is a true statement, but it depends on how it's framed, right? If it's framed, as Tucker Carlson very often frames this thing, as a sort of, like, anti-Semitic attack in particular, like when he talks about, well, how Israel has a lot of control in terms of within the government of the United States of America, what he's talking about is the fact that it's not about being anti-Zionist for him, it's more so about being anti-Semitic, because, again, Tucker Carlson is a white nationalist. He pushes that shit all the fucking time. Yeah, and like Republicans move between Dem politicians when talking about Democrats widely. Like the Dem voters and certain Dem politicians are loud about the Epstein files. Nancy Pelosi isn't, and they use her to represent all the left. Exactly. You're hitting the nail on the fucking head, Alex. This is just Anna, I guess, falling for the fucking Republican propaganda at this point.
To live in this ridiculous, like, perversion of the American government.
Also, like, literally, Ro Khanna has said that in every fucking vote, he is going to push for his fucking Epstein file release amendment. In every single fucking vote, he has said, like, I'm going to push it literally on every single one until the Republicans have, like, answer for it.
Where they pretend to represent us, but in reality, Americans are on the back burner. Our tax dollars are being taken from us, not to help Americans who need help, but to give all sorts of subsidies to private industries are already doing really well. Okay, they don't need extra subsidies or tax cuts or things like that. But in addition to that, all the foreign aid that we're pumping into the Middle East, Israel, right? Oftentimes when we talk about foreign aid that goes to Israel, at this point, I believe it's about, what, $4 billion a year, on top of all the military aid that we've been pumping into Israel over the last 2 years. I mean, it's unacceptable to me that we're doing that. And in the backdrop of that, you have the United States Congress cutting $1.1 trillion to Medicaid? Really? That's the problem? That's where we need to cut funding from? By the way, also cutting funding to food assistance? How do you justify sending tens of billions of dollars to Israel in the last 2 years alone while targeting cuts to Medicaid and food stamps? It makes me beyond angry. I think it's so unbelievably unjust. And if you...
Anna, you're talking to someone was born with a silver spoon in his mouth and does not give a fuck about people's fucking not foreign assistance, but Social Security getting cut. Like, wasn't there a thing about this? Tucker Carlson talking about cutting Social Security. There was some leaked audio about this. Time to cut Social Security and Medicare. Tucker Carlson. 15 years ago. And this was on the Young Turks itself. Really? Oh, but he had to change. He changed his mind, guys. Yeah, sure, totally.
Conservative mind. Let's watch.
Final question from Twitter. Dennis says, Tucker, where do you think this country is heading?
And wrong. There certainly is a feeling that things are really off track, more off track than any time in my conscious lifetime. Anyway, and debt is clearly the problem. I mean, in 2 years, the national debt will be 100%.
Talking about debt, bro. That's so funny.
Of GDP. And that's not a real country at that point. That's not sustainable. You can't have that. That's third world. And so clearly, there are going to have to be radical adjustments. There aren't enough rich people in this country to pay down the debt to the extent it needs to be paid down. So we're going to have to trim back, it seems to me, our expenditures, and that means cutting entitlements. Social Security, and particularly Medicare, need to be dealt with. I think the basic assumptions of American life, which are...
Oh, hey, Anna, what's going on here? Tucker, you have some explaining to do. I wonder why he wants to cut those in particular. Could be anything. Where's the other thing? Right, like Tucker Carlson saying whatever Rupert Murdoch wants. There's a really good video by Carlos Maza basically exposing that dumbass Tucker Carlson's whole like populist fucking shtick, and this was not that long ago. Like, he has literally said that he did the whole, like, thing where he exposed himself saying, like, oh, I know what Bill O'Reilly's whole, like, fucking shtick is. It's basically, like, saying that, oh, yeah, I'm, like, totally, like, a heckin' populist Reno guy, but in reality, I'm, like, actually not, and he's just, like, a complete fucking liar. So, that's pretty cool. Very, very cool. It's, like, it's complete nonsense. Tucker Carlson can't be believed of fucking anything at all because, again, he's just a fucking charlatan. He will do anything that he is told, right? Like, anything at all. But, literally, I'm 100% Murdoch's bitch, Carlson said. Whatever Mr. Murdoch says, I do. I would be honored if he would cane me the way I cane, I don't know, like his daughters or some shit, or whatever the fuck he said. I can't look at the fucking Intercept article. He's just a complete slave to fucking capital. It's really, really fucking stupid. That's possible that he might be trying to set himself up for a 2028 run. Boy meets Smitty. Maybe he would like. He's like a pretty good candidate. He's pretty well positioned in order to potentially be able to sort of be like, I don't know, a replacement for like America First or MAGA or whatever the fuck it is. It's possible.
Speak out about it the way I'm doing right now. I'm sorry, I'm getting like kind of aggressive. If you speak out about it like I am right now, people try to smear you as an anti-Semite. And you know what? I'm not an anti-Semite. I know what's in my heart. And I'm not going to let those smears stop me from saying what I know is correct and what's morally just.
Is it possible that people are slandered in order to prevent conversations like this from happening in the first place? So you said, I was hesitant to come on the show. I mean, the reason we wanted to book you and a bunch of people who work for me had the same feeling, is that what you just said. Like, we can disagree on all kinds of things, but if the fundamental orientation is the U.S. government ought to make a good faith effort to improve the lives of Americans, that's not a partisan statement. That's not a crazy out there sentiment at all. And we saw that. It's like, oh yeah. And then you're like, yeah, but he's a Nazi. I can't see the Nazi show.
So, I mean,
it's sort of what, like, I have all kinds of stupid opinions. I've said all kinds of stupid things. I've had ugly opinions in the past. I'm not defending every opinion I have had or even currently have. I'm merely saying to reduce someone to a caricature is a kind of tactic to prevent anyone from having a real conversation with the person.
It's meant to discredit, and yeah, you're right. It's meant to.
Listen, that's because do we have to like go into the things that Tucker Carlson has said? I don't know, like a compilation of racist things Tucker Carlson has said. There's compilations out there, right? Worst things Tucker Carlson, most racist comments yet from HuffPost. What do we have here? See if we can get a compilation.
This may be a lot of things, this moment we're living through, but it is definitely not about Black lives. And remember that when they come for you, and at this rate, they will.
I wonder what he means by they in this particular instance. I have no idea. What could he possibly be meaning by this? Nothing suspicious at all going on here. Hey, Anna, I wonder why people don't really like Tucker Carlson. Well, I couldn't think of anything.
Anyone who's ever been subjected to the rage of the mob knows the feeling. It's like being swarmed by hornets. You cannot think clearly. And the temptation is to panic. But you can't panic. You've got to keep your head and tell the truth. Tell the truth. If you show weakness of any kind, they will crush you.
I don't know why he said this. He's been saying these things, you know.
The indiscriminate use of violence by mobs is a threat to every American of all colors and backgrounds and political beliefs. Democracy cannot exist when people are rioting. Rioting is a form of tyranny.
I wonder why people don't really want to talk to him all that much. I don't know. Where's like the Meteor Matters compilation of all the stupid shit that Tucker Carlson has said. Like the Meteor Matters makes a really good compilations, for example. Yeah, what else do we have here? Compilation.
You are not allowed to question Black Lives Matter in any way. Full stop. But it is definitely not about Black lives. And remember that when they come for you, and at this rate they will. Mobs of violent cretins have burned our cities, defaced our monuments, beaten old women in the street, shot police officers, and stolen everything in sight. It has nothing to do with civil rights. It's violence. They want segregation. You cool with that? Black Lives Matter believes in force. They flood the streets with angry young people who break things, and they hurt anyone who gets in the way. Our leaders are weak. Predators know it. That's why this is happening. If you let people spray paint obscenities on City Hall, pretty soon they are overturning cop cars. Maybe the U.S. government could take decisive action, and by doing that, make it really clear that this is a terror organization. Frog marched them in front of cameras like MS-13 and called them what they actually are. Domestic terrorists. They did nothing to build this country. Now they are tearing it down. They are rushing us toward mass suicide. I mean, if your kid comes home after getting a bad grade.
Hey, Anna, I wonder why people might have problems with Tucker Carlson. I can't possibly think of any particular reasonings for as to why people don't like Tucker Carlson all that much. Why they may have problems with a lot of the stuff that he has said in the past while working at Fox News. I think my point has been, broadly speaking, I think it's been made pretty clear.
Stop these types of conversations from happening. Now, you are very conservative. I'm not very conservative. I have some views that lean more conservative than progressives feel comfortable with, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, what drives my politics is this desire for everyone to thrive economically. And, you've been speaking out about
how is that? So what is the difference? I would hope that.
That's really funny of her to say that, talking to this fucking silver spoon fucking having fucking prepper school boy who's just had a fucking silver spoon in his fucking mouth his whole life. That's so fucking funny, dude.
Be like everyone's desire.
It's not, no.
Right at all. But what does it mean to be?
Beating old women in the street in New York. The police knocked down an old woman on a bike when he picked up a police helmet and went to give it to the police. The guy fell, hit his head, and was bleeding, and they just left him there. It was caught on video. And let me guess that Tucker Carlson was just like, yeah, I'm okay with like people getting beat in the head with batons and stuff like that, right? Pretty sure.
Not to get too philosophical, but what does it mean to be conservative or liberal, like at this point?
Well, I don't think that the political labels that we currently have in this country make much sense anymore, to be honest with you. But I'm talking about
I wonder
like,
why,
conservatism. I believe in reproductive rights to a point.
Right.
I know that you're anti-abortion. Yeah, so like that's a disagreement we have, and I'm not at all going to like come on the show and capitulate on my beliefs.
Right.
But I think that those are important issues. I'm not minimizing them.
Right.
But I feel that we can't even really engage in a real debate about policy or specific issues unless we know we're living in a sovereign country and we have a government that actually has interest in representing us.
Right, because it doesn't really matter otherwise.
Right.
Like, is she basically trying... Isn't that, like, the fucking same argument that a lot of, like, stupid, dumb fucking, like, dipshits and Nazis say about how, America is no longer a fucking sovereign country because of, like, they basically have a ton of lobbying efforts and stuff, that take away sovereignty from the American fucking people. Isn't that, like, a fucking meme, specifically with, like, Nazis, I think, right? I think?
If people keep voting for different things but get the same result,
Exactly.
then the system is fake, and that's the point where people start to go crazy and do radical, violent things, which I'm completely opposed to. I just want to say that at the outset. I hate violent radicalism more than anything, and I feel like that's the result of people realizing their system is fake. So you have to make it kind of real.
You're right about that, and we've been seeing more and more political violence in this country,
Yes.
and it's terrifying. I mean, I'm not justifying it, but I can explain why it's happening.
for sure.
And I don't want things to devolve further.
political
And here's the other
violence.
reason why I decided to come. So I knew that you moved here. You moved to like a rural part of the country, and I live in a big city. And I think that living in a big city and spending most of your time in a big city kind of blinds you to the rest of America. A lot of Americans live in rural parts of the country,
Yes.
and I want the opportunity to like speak to them, like get to know them, understand where their hearts and their minds.
I mean, there's a lot that they don't fucking really represent a significant portion of the country. Like, is this the meme that we're fucking doing? Really, bro? Really? Okay, dude.
They're at. And so I saw it as an opportunity to like expose myself to people that I otherwise wouldn't get an opportunity to speak to. And I think you've hired like drivers to bring people, to where you're at.
It's very
the
far
airport.
away, yes.
Yeah, the airport's very far. But I love that because they're not like, they're not Uber drivers.
They're like unemployed loggers and stuff.
Oh, but they are.
I know.
I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed having conversations with them. So one of the drivers who picked me up, Jen, she mentioned the big, beautiful bill that just passed. And, I can tell she identifies as Republican, and she wasn't happy with that bill. And I suspected that most ordinary working class Americans, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, are not happy with that bill.
Yes.
The $1.1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, that's what she brought up. She brought that up. And I thought that was really fascinating. Now, if you talk to someone who identifies as a liberal Democrat, they'll probably think, oh, these Republican voters, they're so greedy. All they want is tax cuts. They want to cut the social safety net. But no, actually, when it comes to ordinary people, there's a lot of agreement. A lot of people are suffering right now. And
Is there any fucking evidence to indicate that fucking liberal Democrats are saying that, like, most of the fucking shit that the fucking goddamn Republicans push for are just tax cuts? I feel like Anna is operating off of a straw man here. I think a complete just caricature in her mind of what she thinks that average fucking liberal voters believe in.
you have all these different industries, especially, beginning in the 90s, offshoring, all these jobs that have been destroyed. I mean, most people work in the service sector at this point, and manufacturing jobs are gone. I think that's part of the reason why Donald Trump has been so appealing to the MAGA base.
Without question.
Right. And so
Yet he's literally just trying to destroy the bill that was very successful in fucking bringing back manufacturing, the fucking Chips and Science Act. I guess, like, Ana Kasparian no longer cares about that shit. I guess. I don't... Whatever.
I want ordinary people to just consider the contradiction here. So if you're a liberal Democrat and you're under the assumption that Republican voters are just greedy and they want to cut the social safety net, why would they love Trump so much, who ran as an economic populist? Now, I don't think that Trump has carried out his promises because of, well, there's a lot of different examples I can cite, but the most recent is the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Yeah, there are some provisions in there, no tax on tips. It's going to be means tested, and it also expires in 4 years, whereas the tax benefits that disproportionately benefit the wealthy are permanent. The no tax on, the elderly or Social Security, that also will expire, and it's up to a certain amount. I think it's like $6,000 if I'm not mistaken. The child tax credit, I think, was just peanuts compared to what I think this country could afford in helping families. You want to encourage people to have kids?
Yeah.
Okay, best way to do it is to create an economic situation where couples feel comfortable bringing life into this world.
Agree.
And then no tax on overtime. That's another example. That's also means tested, and that's a provision that will expire in 2028. It's just interesting to see which provisions are permanent and which are set to expire in 4 years when Trump is done with his term. So if you really want to represent the working class, you got to put your money where your mouth is, and I haven't really seen it to the extent that Trump claimed he was going to help the working class in this country.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Here's a revealing and unpleasant fact. Mexico is facing a dangerous outbreak of New World screwworm. Including fermenting. Could clear pain. Can issued you arms.
I don't care about
Real me. Did you have your views changed?
I have some views that have definitely changed. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I like swung from far left to far right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means actually. I mean, I don't think I can answer the question, so I don't know why I'm asking you to view. But like, what do the terms mean now? And for whatever it's worth, I've settled on people who are honest, people who lie.
right.
And that's like the only division. Maybe you have the honest party, the liar party, or something, in the future. But clearly you've started thinking things or thinking through things that you hadn't before. And God bless you, that's like the greatest privilege of adulthood. You get to think for yourself. It's happened to me a lot. But how did that start?
Well, I mean, it started with like personal.
started with talking about having a fucking conniption about birthing persons. Like, quite literally, the only reason why Ana Kasparian is having, like, I don't know, the problems that she's having is because AOC or something, and, like, other, like, more liberal sort of Democrats were talking about, like, you know, I'm okay with using the term birthing persons, this is a scientific term, in order to describe, like, stuff with women's health. Like, that's the main fucking problem that she's having. It's the most fucking nothing burger of nothing burger shit on the fucking planet, dude.
Personal experiences, and it often does, right? Like, often your policy preferences will slap you in the face, and then you're like, oh, I don't like that. You know,
right, no, I get it.
You know, because sometimes there are unintended consequences. I'll give you a specific example. So I was very much supportive of the defund the police movement in 2020, and it was because, you know, you see this video of a man, like, dying on camera with a police officer refusing to, like, you know, ease up on him, and it really made me angry. I felt that it was, whatever you think about George Floyd, I don't care, right? Like, what was happening in that moment, in that video, was so disgusting to me and so unjust. And so I was like, no, I totally bought the narrative that it's not actually about, like, abolishing police. It's about, you know, taking some of that funding and investing in social services or in social workers, so social workers respond to
so far this is a conservative fucking framing. Again, no one in the Black Lives Matter movement, broadly speaking, was advocating for defunding the fucking police. People who were talking, and I've talked about this before, and this is mostly the problem that I had with the fucking slogan of defund the police, right? The problem was that it was a fucking, like, if you were to try to make a slogan out of, well, no, what we want to do is basically just advocate for reallocation of funding to social workers instead, blah, 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 blah. Not very catchy, doesn't really get along, not very fetch, not going to be, like, I don't know, particularly conducive to being able to catalyze a fucking social movement, okay? Like, that's the main problem with defund the fucking police. The thing is that conservatives were the main people that made it all about, well, the left is trying to actively defund the police, when nothing could have been further from the fucking truth.
certain calls instead of the police. That actually has ended up being pretty disastrous in California, in Los Angeles in particular, because I've seen it firsthand.
And you're from there?
I'm from there. My best friend since childhood, she's a social worker herself.
Boy Meets Minnie, can you corroborate? Boy Meets Minnie, any corroboration? Has there been a defunding of the police? Is this real? Is this true? Does this pass the fucking Boy Meets Minnie smell test? A lifelong California, Los Angeles resident. Nope, budget went up $300 million more this year. Thank you, Boy Meets Minnie. And why don't we take a look? Current budget of the LAPD. 2023 annual budget, $1.9 billion. Up from what? From this? So it's about at least about $2.2 billion. Nice. $10.71 billion. And in these particular years. Interesting. So I thought that Anna, what's going on here? Why is I thought the police is being defunded. They seem to be getting more funding. Well, that's interesting.
And I've talked to other social workers about what their experience has been like. And they're like, I actually interviewed one for a piece I wrote for Real Clear Investigations. And she told me, look, it hasn't really worked out the way people have thought it would work out. Oftentimes we'll go to a call and it's supposed to be a nonviolent person, or a nonviolent call, someone's having a mental health episode. But they'll show up and oftentimes it'll be someone who does have a weapon. It's not a gun, but it's maybe a knife, and they feel threatened. So they have no choice but to call the police. And so in 2021, the Los Angeles City Council.
That's the fucking problem, Anna. Like, that's literally the fucking issue with the fucking whole goddamn shebang. The fact that the only people who can be called are the fucking police in order to be able to help take care of those fucking problems. Now, can we fucking acknowledge that some people just cannot be fucking helped? Yeah, sure. I don't really fucking disagree with that. But the fucking fact that basically the only main people that you can call immediately in terms of any particular, like, social situation or something is always the fucking police is what mainly fucking contributes to the problem. It's not as simple as just like, oh yeah, dude, listen, we have to just, like, basically the heckin' Reno police are the only people that we can ever turn to in order to ensure our fucking safety. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the issue. Like, that's literally the problem.
Council, was inspired by BLM, and they decided to take $150 million away from the LAPD's budget and instead invest it in other services. It actually ended up being even more, we're spending more on police, more on the LAPD than we ever have, like a record amount. And the reason why is because you have to really ask yourself before you make these decisions, okay, do we need this many officers? let's compare Los Angeles to other.
Yeah, Boy Meets Mini, is this passing the smell test? Smell test. I'm calling for the smell test. What's going on here? I need some context. Blaming BLM for the budget increase? That seems like what she's fucking doing here. So, Boy Meets Mini, can you corroborate that basically it was because of fucking BLM that there was a budget increase? What happened exactly? Nope. Not passing the fucking smell test. Boy Meets Mini, if you could elucidate, if you could tell me, what was the reasoning as to why there was an increase in funding to the police? Was it because of fucking BLM? What's the reasoning? I'm curious. I'm fascinated to know. Is Anna speaking the truth here, or is she full of shit? What's the vibe? What's going on here? No, it was city council that voted on increases. Are there a bunch of people within BLM that are within city council that control the annals of city council? Well, that's a little interesting. I find it very fascinating that Anna, this supposed political commentator, seems to barely have any understanding for as to how like local politics seemingly works. That's a little interesting, isn't it? I wonder why this seemingly is the case. I couldn't possibly think of anything for as to why. Nope, there's like 3 progressives out of 15 members. Thank you very much, Boy Meets Mini. So this claim is not passing the local the Angelinos fucking smell test.
Huge cities, what's the police officer sworn officer to citizen ratio? And in LA, it's always been historically lower, much lower than other major cities. So at the peak of the LAPD and the number of sworn officers in the LAPD, we had about 10,000. After the cuts and after all the difficulty in recruiting new sworn officers, because people don't want to be police officers anymore for understandable reasons. It's not a desirable job when you have people constantly, talking about how terrible cops are. So now we have about 8,500. And as a result...
I wonder why people think the LAPD are terrible. I want to take a look. LAPD white nationalist gangs. I wonder why. Oh, let's see. List of LA deputy gangs. Well, what's this? This is a list of gangs whose members are associated with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, or LASD. Typical deputies. Well, that's a little interesting. I wonder why people may not like them. Oh, what's this? What do you got for me, Boy Meets Mini? A tradition of violence. A history of deputy gangs in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Oh, the same thing that we were looking at in this Wikipedia article. Hey, Anna, you have some explaining to do. I wonder why. Wonder why there's a bunch of gangs. Deputy gangs. Within the fucking LAPD. I wonder why people might not be big fans of wanting to join the fucking police. This might have something to do with that. It's a little sussy, a little weird. What 1992 Colts Commission report said there were particularly at stations in areas of high crime, the so-called ghetto stations, and deputies at those stations recruit persons in similar attitude to themselves. The first deputy gang acknowledged by the LASD was the Little Devils, and later released an internal memo in 1973. One or more deputy gangs are believed to have been involved in the death of Los Angeles Times reporter and law enforcement critic Ruben Salazar. Interesting. Boy Meets Mini, you know anything about Ruben Salazar? Seems to be an potential investigative reporter from the Los Angeles Times. Interesting. We were during the National Chicano Moratorium March against the Vietnam War on August 29th, 1970. Exactly? What's this? When I was younger and I would get stopped by police all the time, and one of them was like, "Oh, but when something bad happens to you, call the police." And I was like, "Call them for what? So they don't show up?" That's pretty funny. Well, that's a little interesting. Anna, what's going on here? Wait, I thought there was like no problems with the LAPD and everyone loves to join the police. What's going on here? Huh? That's interesting.
The remaining sworn officers are working insane overtime, like crazy. Like we have one police officer in the LAPD. I think his name's Nathan Corey. He made $600,000 one year because of police overtime. So right now, taxpayers in Los Angeles...
$600,000?
Yes. So right now, taxpayers in LA are kind of confronted with a situation where they're paying far more for less as it pertains to policing. Since there is a shortage, there's longer wait times if you call 911 and you need help. Some people complain that they'll call, if it's not, like let's say someone was a victim of a burglary, obviously you're not in imminent danger. So they'll call the cops and hope that someone will show up, take fingerprints and maybe find who burglarized them. They never do, but they don't show up for hours. And people get really upset and they're like, why is this happening? And what's really interesting is I try to explain why it's happening and I get called all sorts of names for doing it, but I don't care. The truth is the truth.
Wait, what do you, okay. First of all, why are you one of the only people willing to admit you were wrong, defund the police?
LAPD is also spending a shit ton on military surplus and AI. Well, yeah, but Ana Kasparian's never gonna fucking mention any of that stuff because she's just gonna blame BLM for all of it. Like, that's the fucking point. It's all BLM's fault. Like, that's the position that she's actually fucking adopting here. It's fucking ridiculous.
Please. Like, why were you willing to say, again, bless you, it's the beginning of growth, but I've done it myself many times, but why were you willing to admit that?
Because at the core of who I am, I think as a journalist, you know, I didn't enter this line of work to be a mouthpiece for anyone. I really care about the truth. And I feel that if you want to live in a democracy, you...
Anna, you've been lying the whole fucking time that's so far about, like, all the shit that's going on specifically with the LAPD and why they've been getting fucking defunded. Like, like, you literally blamed BLM for the LAPD getting fucking defunded, which is just insane to me. But, okay, yeah, actually, it's all BLM's fault. Silly.
You have to make sure that people are getting accurate information to make the right decisions for themselves once they're casting a ballot.
Right.
And so I felt angry because I felt misled by the media.
Yep.
And now, you know, it was partly my fault too because I was in a bubble and I was only getting one side of every story.
Of course.
Even if I agree with that side, I should at least hear what the opposing argument is. And I wasn't going out of my way to do that before. Now I do. And so I see things as far more complex and nuanced. And it's hard to make an argument that's going
very
to
nuanced.
appease any audience at this point because I think a lot of Americans have been conditioned to be partisan and prioritize partisanship before truth. And I think truth is what will set us free, genuinely. Truth will help us ensure that we have a better government. And I'm sorry, one side or the other.
I have to fucking really say, this is the most fucking clown shoe shit I've ever heard of in my fucking life, dude. Like, yeah, the disinformation peddlers, the fucking conservatives, very well known for it being such rigorous adherence to the truth. Yeah, of course. Very, very cool, Anna.
Does not have a monopoly on the truth. They just don't. And one side might get something right one time, the other side might have a good point when it comes to a different issue. And I think we just need to be open-minded, and more importantly, we need to have conversations with people. Because if you just rely on what the media is saying about a particular political figure or a particular media figure, why are you letting them tell you what to think about individuals? Why don't you actually do a little bit of digging or have these conversations yourself and try to figure out who these people really are? You know, like the speech...
The only experience that I've ever had with police was basically in high school. And like, it was such a fucking nothing burger that it's just like silly. So I basically I used to do cross country, right? Back in the day in high school, and well, like looking back on it, it's the stupidest fucking shit on the planet. But we always go to this particular place called Port Hope. It's like it's where the finals are held basically every year at my fucking dumbass fucking private school. You go to Port Hope, and basically my buddies in the cross country team, they said, like, why don't we, like, sneak out and just, like, walk around, see if we can, like, sneak into the fucking school where it's being, like, held, so we can, like, I don't know, get in or some shit. You know, it was, like, stupid fucking high school boy shit, right? Like, just very, very dumb, silly bullshit, right? Like, you know, standard shit. So, that's basically what we did. And it's just like, yeah, they did a little bit of trespassing. But someone called the fucking cops, and instead of the fucking cops showing up, we were getting tailed by, get this, an off-duty firefighter in an unmarked fucking vehicle. The dude was fucking tailing us. My two friends ditched me. They booked it, and I was fucking detained. So, you know. And then I got brought back to the hotel we were staying in. And we just got, like, basically let off with, like, a fucking warning. And then, like, the school, like, took care of us or whatever the fuck. It was the dumbest fucking shit on the planet. That's my only fucking experience with Canadian police officers. Yeah, my criminal past has been revealed. We were just being stupid little morons or some shit. It was so fucking dumb, bro.
You gave at Turning Point, you said a few things in there that I might not agree with, but like the overall message was so courageous, and I never thought in a million years I would hear it at a conservative conference. Never.
It's just interesting. Well, I mean, you know, the truth is wherever it is, and you try to recognize it. But I hope I'm going to give you my text, and I want you to text me, if you will, criticism of what you're saying now.
Okay.
Because I want to keep a list of people who are offended by what you're saying to my head. Mm-hmm. Like, how could anyone be offended by what you're saying now?
Yeah. Well, it might not be...
I mean, you're not the criminal here.
Yeah. Well, let me just be honest with you. I think that most people who are going to attack me aren't even going to listen to this interview. It's just the fact that we're having a conversation with each other.
I'm unfortunately doing the disservice to myself of listening to this fucking goddamn interview. Well, unlucky for me, I guess.
But I take offense to people trying to police who I can talk to. In fact, the more they try to police me, the more I want to talk to the person they forbid me to speak to. Honestly, I've always been like that. I've been like that since I was a kid. My mom knows it better than anyone.
Anna, there's reasons why people are constantly saying, like, yeah, I don't think you should speak with Tucker Carlson. Like, we've seen the compilations, okay, of, like, the stupid racist shit this motherfucker has said. I think that's probably the main reason as to why people are saying, like, yeah, you shouldn't give this motherfucker the light of day, because he's not an honest actor. He's just not.
I'm just a little bit rebellious, and I don't like to be told what to do. I hate it.
and what to think.
Yeah.
And who you can talk
I'm
to.
so rebellious, guys.
That's a core decision. Who do I associate with?
Yeah.
Who are my friends? Who am I having dinner with? Who do I marry? I mean, if you allow other people to make those decisions for you, you're not free.
No, you're not. And oh my God, what a terrible career.
Dude, this is the most fucking, like, soy LARP, soy chug shit I've so far I've been fucking hearing. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, like, I don't want people to fucking police what I say and what I do. And it's like, that's totally something that's really, really fucking happening. Like, this is, like, again, probably some of those fucking cringe-ass shit I've been fucking hearing so far. Again, listen, Anna, it's not about that, okay? This complete fucking nonsense. No, there are just some people you should, simply speaking, not give the fucking light of day to. Tucker Carlson is one of those people.
Your path to be a journalist who doesn't get to have conversations like with people that they're curious. I'm curious about you. I am.
Right.
You were a neocon.
Yeah, I was.
Hard
to believe that.
It is hard to believe that. I became politicized in the lead up to the Iraq invasion in 2003.
Yes.
I was in high school, and I remember in 2002, I went to like a hippie, magnet school, and we had Peace Day annually. And I remember giving a speech in 2002 to make the case against the preemptive war in Iraq. And I remember, you're gonna laugh at this. I remember in English class, we were reading a play, The Glass Menagerie, which I found deeply boring. And I had like, I had a cutout of a New York Times article in which Bill Kristol was one of the people the reporter interviewed. And Bill Kristol loves war,
Yeah.
hardcore neocon. And I just remember like just sitting in that English class, reading his quotes and seething over it. And thinking to myself, I can't wait to one day get an opportunity to like confront him. And I actually did get that opportunity. It wasn't about war, but it was a Politicon panel debate about healthcare. And I kind of brought up the fact that Israel has universal healthcare and Americans don't.
What did he say?
He was so unprepared. There's like a picture of him, like he has index cards, like someone wrote notes down for him, and he's just like fumbling with index cards. He doesn't know what to do. And then once the whole panel discussion was over, someone who was with me overheard him say, "Damn it, she came prepared." Something along those lines.
Yeah, it's arrogance. It's people who've been told since they were small that they're brilliant. Bill Kristol, Ted Cruz. I mean, it does distort you, and it actually makes you dumb paradoxically over time.
Definitely,
Yeah. You're never pressed.
Gotta stay humble.
I completely agree with
Yeah.
that. It's not hard for me. My services. You probably heard about 8 Sleep. Lots of people are talking about it. It is a company. People do new product. Plus, in 5 electric solution detection. Great. That $50. We think you'll flash Tucker. Okay, so I just wanted to emphasize that point. You came to the conclusion that you were wrong, and you said so out loud.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the acid test. Is someone honest? I don't know. Will that person admit being wrong? That's when we know.
Yeah, totally.
And okay, so you live in the same place. That's also hugely helpful because you can see it over time. The same place.
True.
You know Ventura Boulevard. You've lived near it your whole life.
Right.
So what did?
Uh-oh. Boy Meets Minnie's gonna say something. Regina George of fucking online politics. I have no idea who the fuck Regina George is, but I'm assuming just a dumbass or something. No idea who the fuck that is. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you start to notice? Like, what is it? Like, what are the effects?
Well, I started noticing that homelessness really
They're
exploded
noticing.
in Los Angeles. Like, it's always been a problem in LA.
Yeah.
But
Oh, here we go. The real thing that fucking animates fucking Ana Kasparian is not the homeless guys. No. Oh, that's yeah. I've completely blocked out all Mean Girls references in my fucking mind. I'll be quite honest, because I've listened to that fucking goddamn movie so many times because of people at my fucking school that I've just like, it's like blocked, no longer in the recesses of my fucking mind. Like I don't fucking pay attention to that shit anymore. I'm like, I don't want to fucking hear anything about Regina George and fucking Mean Girls. I've had enough. No more. I've had enough. No more fucking goddamn Mean Girls. I've had enough. No more.
it now touches every like square mile of that county. And it's just gotten, during COVID, it was unbelievably bad. And I just felt like
I wonder
it
why.
was inhumane seeing what was going on. And it wasn't just that there were a lot of homeless people. It was that there were a lot of homeless people with like severe like mental health issues.
Yes.
And they can't make decisions for themselves. They're like literally, I can't tell you how many times on my way to work on the freeway, I almost hit a mentally ill homeless person who's on the freeway.
On 405?
Yes. And I can't imagine what I would go through for the rest of my life if I ever hit someone with my car, you know? But like, why are we living in a society that like thinks that this is okay? This is not okay. This is not okay. The drug addiction, not just in LA, all across the country. Has there been any effort to do anything about this?
Zero.
And it makes me really angry.
Sacklers are still billionaires.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I find it to be, you want to talk about treason. Politicians who let this kind of stuff happen to the Americans they're supposed to represent, and people mistake that as me being anti-homeless. No. The people who defend what's happening right now, they're anti-homeless. 7 people died of drug overdose on the same corner near where I live in a 2-week span. 7 people, same corner. That wasn't a big scandal. The city council member who represents my district wasn't asked about it. She didn't have to defend herself. She's one of the...
Okay, like, literally, the thing is that no, I don't think, like, people are having a problem in particular with the fact that, you know, generally speaking, yeah, like, Ana Kasparian has been talking about, like, issues with the fucking, like, homeless population within LA. The main problem that, generally speaking, people are having with Ana Kasparian in particular is that her just, like, kind of callous disregard, because, again, she had a bad experience one time with a fucking a homeless guy sexually assaulting her, which is obviously bad. But then she used that basically as like a way to sort of like come up with like an excuse to be like, no, that means like all the fucking homeless people are actually bad and they are abhorrent. I hate them. They're terrible. It's just like, well, listen. What happened to you was obviously bad. No one's gonna fucking disagree with that stuff. But it's just a fucking anecdote that fucking happens, okay? That doesn't mean you should condemn all of them to, like, I don't know, a fucking shared fucking doom for, like, no fucking reason. Like, it's completely fucking nonsense. Yeah, that's a good point, fucking Boy Meets Mini. What? And the LAPD ignores sexual assault cases all the time? Exactly. Listen, I don't know. I thought she was, like, a big fan of the police. What happened? Well, I wonder why they fucking constantly ignore, like, sexual assault cases. You know, maybe if instead of, like, addressing, like, whatever idiotic other bullshit the LAPD has to take a look at, instead of that, like, you know, maybe they have to fucking do some shit like that or something. Who knows? I mean, it's so fucking silly. No, she does, like, a lot of the, like, stupid, idiotic conflations all the fucking time for the behaviors of, like, homeless people, and just says, like, I'm the only one who's, like, the main fucking victim here. And that's, like, the general problem that a lot of people are fucking having with Ana Kasparian's positions on fucking homeless people, right? Like, that's really what it is.
These city council members who keeps voting on the dumbest policies that do nothing to actually help these people, but somehow justifies the continuation of the same failed policies that have led to all of these overdose deaths, all of these people with mental health issues not getting the help that they need. It's awful. The whole situation is awful.
I mean, I lived in LA as a child. I've worked there on and off my whole life. I really love Los Angeles. I'll admit that. I just love it. It's just a truly American city. Architecture is unique to LA, or was. It's just amazing. It's what an ambitious, hopeful, affluent country builds when they get to the end of the continent.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, there's nowhere else to build something amazing, and they built Los Angeles, and I've always loved it in my heart. So I go back there. I'm going back next month, and I'm shocked by it. Like, I can't even believe it. The encampment outside the Veterans Museum. I'm like, what is going on here? And no one ever says anything. Well, but I don't live there. You tell me. Do people talk about this a lot?
They talk about it privately, but it's really interesting because while there's this openness in regard to the failed policies in private discussions, no one wants to say anything publicly because you'll get the kind of treatment I've gotten.
The people are dying on the street. 7 people at one intersection. 7 people, Americans, and that's like verboten to talk about? How? Why?
Oh, you're stigmatizing your unhoused neighbors. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that statement. You're stigmatizing your unhoused. It's like, no.
They're dead, and I feel bad about it.
I'm stigmatizing the very politicians who think that this situation is okay. The same politicians who took our tax dollars, $24 billion worth of California's taxpayer money, okay, squandered it by funneling it to these NGOs and nonprofits that are run by their friends.
Oh, of course.
They fattened up their pockets. They didn't do anything to actually help those people. Nothing.
Is this true, Boy Meets Mini? Is this real? Is this what happened? Can I get the Californian fact checked, please? This real? This true? Is this what in reality fucking happened? Because I have no reason to believe in anything that Ana Kasparian has to say about the problems that homeless people are fucking facing in the country, especially in fucking Los Angeles. Like, are they not getting the support that they need? You know, I don't have a reason to sort of like disagree with that assumption, but I'm rather fucking suspicious what's going on here. No, the city defunds the housing authority on purpose and funnels money to the police. Well, that's a little interesting. Wonder why they're funneling the money to the police in particular. Well, that's a little suspicious. And the NGOs who operate here are complicit with sweeps. Well, that's a little interesting that they've just funneled the money instead of the, you know, whatever sort of like humanitarian or like NGOs that are responsible for this. They just funnel the money into the LAPD. Anna, you have some explaining to do. Well, that's a little interesting. They seem to be fucking complicit in terms of those actions in particular. Well, that's a little fascinating. Interesting.
So when you say that at dinner, what's that like?
I mean, again, I don't have dinner with idiots, okay? So I'm not going to have dinner with someone who's like, no, I think we should keep stealing money from taxpayers in the highest tax state in the country. No, I'm not interested in that. But when I do have dinner with my friends or with, you know, acquaintances or even like people that I just met, but, you know, for whatever reason our paths cross and we're having dinner, they all agree with me, you know? Most people agree with me. And I don't think what I'm saying is at all offensive, which is why I keep saying it. I'm not going to stop saying it just because some idiots are going to try to smear me for doing it. No, I don't care. Like, these issues go way beyond me. You get what I'm saying?
Well, not only is it not offensive, it's pro-life in the truest sense. It's pro-human dignity. You don't want 7 people to die in an intersection. You're shocked and horrified and saddened by it.
Definitely.
And that's not shameful. That's evidence of decency and compassion. I don't understand how that just got inverted.
You know, I don't want to go back to the days where we were criminalizing people who were suffering from drug addiction.
Right.
But
yeah, here's the thing. Yeah, the question then becomes, like, who are exactly the people that are agreeing with you, right, Anna? Like, that's the fucking problem. It's just like, yeah, people are agreeing with me. It's like, yeah, who exactly? Who are the people that are agreeing with you? I would like other fucking, like, rich, affluent, like, media personalities that you fucking probably gallivant about because, again, you're a rich, affluent, media fucking personality. I wonder who they are.
What we're doing now is, I think, far worse.
Oh, of course it is.
You know, because at least if someone was using publicly, which, by the way, right now happens all the time, you see people, it's really devastating. Like, you see people smoking meth publicly. You see people, you see do you know what the fentanyl is?
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah, it's all over Ventura Boulevard at night. And it's, I don't know.
You describe it for people who don't know what you're talking
It's basically fentanyl. I guess it does something to your body where after you take it, like if you see someone who's literally standing, but they're like hunched over, like folded over.
Like a scarecrow.
Like,
Yeah.
exactly. They're on fentanyl. That's what fentanyl does to their body. And I never saw that once until recently. And now it's just all over Ventura Boulevard in the San Fernando Valley at night specifically. You don't see it in the daytime. And it's the most heartbreaking thing ever. These people they're dying. Very likely they're going to die.
Someone's child.
Yeah, yeah. And no one cares. No one cares. I can't tell you how many times people just kind of like, you'll see videos of this online. People will have to walk over a guy who looks like he might be dead, sleeping on the sidewalk. You know, like it's made us almost numb because it's so much of our lives now. Like it's a regular occurrence. So when it's a regular occurrence, it becomes normalized. And
it degrades everyone.
Exactly. And I'm worried that since it's so normalized, nothing's going to be done about it. And I just find it immoral, and I find that it's wrong, and I'm disgusted with our politicians.
I don't think I could have put it better. Every word you said, I agree with passionately, and I don't know how this wound up a partisan issue at all. And
I think it's because it's the Trump era.
Yeah.
Trump offends the sensitivities and sensibilities of self-identified liberal Democrats so much that they think they have to like automatically take the opposite stance of what a conservative would say or what a Trump supporter would say. But that's why I want people to start talking again and not make Donald Trump like the nucleus of our politics, because I think that, again,
kind of difficult to not make Donald Trump the nucleus of politics, considering he is the president of the United States of America. He kind of is. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, she's not gonna fucking suggest anything at all, Boy Meets Minnie, as to what she could do about it, because in reality, she just wants to like get rid of fucking homeless people. Like that's what it is. She's okay with just getting rid of them. Like that's it. Like, yeah, she can hem and haw about like how it's so abhorrent, it's so it's so immoral, it's so bad what's going on with all this like different stuff. Like, yeah, she can hem and haw about that, but she's not gonna actually like propose anything that can be fixed about the situation, because in reality, she doesn't care about the fixing this fucking situation.
And on a lot of the important issues, there's a lot of agreement among voters. They just have to allow themselves to think for themselves.
I would say the most important issues. I mean, if you've got 7 people dying in one intersection in Los Angeles, you're not going to tell me that Iran is a greater threat to my country than that.
Exactly.
I can't think of a greater threat to my country than that, actually. And I don't have any idea why that's partisan. I'm interested in the governor. I know the governor of the state.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some. I know Gavin Newsom. He's got some talent, I think, and charming for sure. But like, what is going on? Is he aware of that? I've asked him. And you
really find him charming?
Well, in a kind of reptilian way. I mean, charming in the sense that his whole life is devoted to winning people over. Kind of like Bill Clinton was, and I think he's good at it. But I also think someone said to me the other day, Newsom could pass a lie detector test on saying anything. Like there's a coldness inside that
he's
allows.
A sociopath. I think he's a snake oil salesman. I think he's a liar, and I think that he destroyed the state of California. Full stop. I've got no love for Gavin Newsom. I think that people tend to fall for appearances, and for whatever reason, people think that he's attractive or something. I don't find him attractive because I know who he is and what he's done. He has shafted Californians who have lost everything in wildfires. The fire in Paradise, California was absolutely devastating. An entire community burnt down as the result of PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, that's the utility company, refusing to upgrade their aging equipment. Their equipment is over 100 years old. And so what started that fire was this metal hook that had eroded to the point where it broke. Power lines come crashing down onto dry brush. It sparks a fire and destroys an entire community. Okay. So you would want PG&E to suffer some consequences for that, right?
I think.
Well, Newsom bailed him out because it's one of his biggest donors. He recently in an interview, I can't remember, he's been doing these like podcast interviews to kind of rebrand himself as like some sort of common sense guy.
I've turned it down.
Yeah, don't fall for it because it's total BS. But he said something along the lines of, I take personal accountability. I made a big mistake by getting caught. I was at the French Laundry. It's like some ritzy, fancy restaurant during COVID after I told Californians, don't get together with family members during the holidays. It's very dangerous, whatever. He said that he was having dinner with friends. It was his friend's birthday. No, he was having dinner with his donors. So even in the context where he's pretending to take accountability, he's lying straight to everyone's face. And I can't stand it. I really can't. I want real authenticity. I want real accountability. I want politicians who are willing to see that the policies they advocated for aren't working quite as they intended, and they're willing to recalibrate, admit that maybe they got something wrong.
Of course.
I want humility. I want this country to improve for the people in this country. And unless we are willing to be honest, unless we're willing to tell the people trying to smear us, to silence us, that they can F off, nothing's going to improve. Everything's going to keep going down. Everything's going to continue devolving. In my lifetime, this country has only gotten worse, not better. And it's going to keep going in that direction. And I want that paradigm to shift. I want it to change.
Why do people disagree with that, do you think?
I don't know. I think there's something psychological about it. I think that we've been conditioned to think of politics as black and white, good and bad, but I think it's more complicated than that. I think most Americans are good people who want good things for everyone, but I think the media kind of conditions us to hate the other side, whatever the other side really is. I certainly...
What? What do you mean? This is just the media's fault? Okay, that's some fucking weird, goofy-ass shit. Yeah, except for homeless people. Yeah, fuck those guys. Who gives a fuck about any of those? Like, I don't think that this is a sort of like, yeah, we could talk about the consequences of commodified media. They don't just condition you to just hate the fucking other side. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, do we have to, like, talk about the, like, CNN sort of, like, shtick that they constantly have to cater to fucking, like, dipshit fucking Republicans all the time? Because that's the thing that fucking consistently happens. I thought Ana Kasparian would have a potential problem with that. That's a little interesting that she doesn't have an issue with that. Like, what is she fucking talking about? No, like, the media has a fucking, I would say, a significant conservative fucking bias, right? Because they have to have a conservative bias due to the fact that if they were not to have a fucking conservative bias. Well, unfortunately, we live in reality, and reality tends to skew liberal. That's the fucking actual problem here. It's not about, like, yeah, it's all because of, like, these particular charlatans in government that are basically, like, pushing these particular things, you know, in terms of, like, whatever the fuck bullshit about, I don't know, like, Gavin Newsom or something, and he's like a snake oil salesman, yeah. It's just like, no, actually, it's a little more fucking complicated than that, okay? The reason for us to, why the media has to sort of, like, make complicity with, not complicity, but sort of, like, launder a lot of the positions of the Republicans and have to fucking constantly cater to them is because if they don't fucking cater to them, they're not going to have any of those people on their fucking shows. They're going to be accused of having a liberal fucking bias or whatever bumblefuck bullshit and just not be able to make as much money. They're going to suffer financially from it. The problem is about, simply put, crazy commodification of fucking media. That's the actual issue. If you don't want this to be a problem anymore, then media should not be commodified. Are you for the decommodification of media then, Anna? Well, that'd be great if she were, but, you know, that's cool. Does she actually live in Orange County? That's fucking funny.
They had those feelings, and things are different today compared to when I became politicized during the Bush era.
Yes.
I feel like during the Bush era, it was a little easier to see good and bad, right? So, for instance, even among Republican voters, I think people had woken up to the fact that the neoconservatives had dragged us into wars that we shouldn't have been fighting. That a lot of people, Americans and civilians in these countries we were invading, were suffering as a result of this ideology. But things have gotten a little more fractured. I think within the parties, there's like multiple parties. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
But when it comes to the two establishments, the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
They're in alignment.
Exactly. On the big issues that matter.
War and the economy.
War and the economy.
The biggest issues.
100%. They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. Totally
100%.
fine. Yeah.
All these like social issues. By the way, social issues are important. I'm not minimizing them. But the way that they're framed by the establishment, I think, is interesting because it's intentionally meant to get us to fight each other constantly.
Of course.
Instead of considering what the big issues are and how we might actually agree on those big issues, what we can do to work together to, again,
I don't know, Anna. I think this still is like a very sort of like class reductionist fucking position. Like, let's be honest here. There's a reason why they are as big of issues as they are, because they are affecting the fucking civil rights of people. Like, well, then again, this is coming from the person who had a schizophrenic conniption about birthing persons, so that fucking particular rhetoric. Like, she's just like, no, you can't say birthing persons, that's like the worst thing on the fucking planet. That this kind of like criticism rings rather fucking hollow from someone who had, like, I don't know, famously crashed out and went on this her stupid right-leaning pivot because of the fact that lawmakers within Congress were starting to use birthing person rhetoric within their fucking bills. Like, this sort of thing rings very, very fucking hollow.
apply pressure to politicians to demand that they represent us instead of their donors, instead of moneyed interests, instead of a foreign government. So I think people are waking up for the first time. I'm a little bit excited because, you know, the kind of speech that you gave wouldn't have happened 5 years ago,
no,
10 years ago.
No, I think that's right. And I wouldn't have, though I'm just struck by how normal and non-threatening and non-hateful and just basic most people's views are, including mine. I don't have any complicated views about anything. I'm not a very deep person at all. And I don't know why we've all internalized this.
Really? You don't have any deep views at all? Let's start asking. Listen, let's start asking Tucker Carlson specifically what he thinks about the poor, what he thinks about the minority populations. I wonder what he thinks about those in particular. You know, like not very, very deep views whatsoever. Sure, man.